Industry Stories. Your boy B.Woods. Hope you're enjoying wherever you're at right now. And this is the podcast that we tell industry stories. Everybody got a different perspective. I'm going to tell you mine, and you're going to hear other folks also. The conversation lean toward loyalty. If you listen to the last podcast and asking the question, is there loyalty in the business and how does that work, and disloyalty and friendship, and it's you really teeter the line when you work into the business. I can say honestly, in terms of friendship, there's probably roughly, I've worked in the business for almost like going on like 16 years now. And who would I consider a friend that I can turn to? I would say about 5 to 6 people. And that's from dealing with hundreds of people in the business, which is kind of crazy because you think that since everybody's on similar paths that you guys would just have, amazing friends that you can go through thick and thin. And the thing is, people in the business for the most part, they're very fragile. They're very fragile because what happens is they look at whatever situation, good or bad, and for a lot of people, they internalize the good and the bad. So when something's going good, people, when they want to be a part of it, they call you, they want you to be one of the people that they can turn to because they say, hey, something's going right. I need to figure out what's going right so that right can work for me. The interesting thing is that when things go wrong, whether it be in the business or in somebody's personal life, people within the business, they get startled and they get fragile and they run away from it because it's a very reflective time. And a lot of times what happens is people look at it and say, can that be me? I lost my mom. She passed away while I was working, and people sent their condolences, but a lot of it had to do with, wow, how's this going to affect his career, and how does this affect my life? Looking at it through his perspective, right? Because a lot of sacrifice was made when people get into this business. A lot of relationships with your family is just not there. And so there's a very reflective space. A lot of scared energy comes from real life when you separate yourself from the business. So people look at it, can I help you? But I don't want to help you. I don't want to be around that. They consider it energy. They don't want to be around real energy because it frightens them. It's going to distract them from the path that they're on. So that being said, friendships within the business are far and in between. And I think it'll be interesting, especially on this podcast. I want to bring in a couple of my people, my actual friends were thick and thin. We went through a lot of like crazy bullshit in the business, from managing groups, managing artists, from what I was doing on the radio, television. I also want to bring in people that are on the path of just coming to LA because Los Angeles is a place where dreams do happen. I've seen a lot of people that just have absolutely nothing, and right now they're multimillionaires. They got Grammys, and so it's interesting depending on the field that you actually get into. So if you're an actor out here, it's a little different from if you're trying to get into like the music game, or if you're trying to do like radio, or if you're trying to do something like that. There's a guy that I know, he just got out here from Ohio, and he's an actor, and he's hustling. He's hustling, trying to get the agent, the manager. He's trying to, living out the car for a little bit, and so. And everybody, this is not unique. I've heard this story a million times, and so people tend to, think that their situation is pretty unique, but it's not. But going back to loyalty and how that leans towards friendship in the business, it's been an interesting ride, especially doing what I do. I want to always just have the best my best interest in terms of just like believing in people and thinking like, okay, if I meet somebody, their intentions are going to be solid. But I tend to be a little bit cynical when I deal with people. I always feel people out. I always look at them like, what you want, what you really want, because I know your ass ain't really just high fiving and smiling. Something is always up, and so you tend to just you take that even into your personal life a little bit, like, and I don't think that's a healthy space to be in, where you're always thinking like something's up or somebody has some ill intention. But working in a business, that kind of it gives you that, it kind of gives you that energy. Or if you've had a distasteful situation within the business, like when I was at the station to be, I told this story a little earlier. I got fired, and I got fired based upon somebody that was from Atlanta that knew he was coming in here and he had to shake things up. And I was working in the promotions department, and I messed up. I didn't mess up. Let me say that, because I thought you framed things the wrong way. I did something that he didn't feel that was appropriate. So we and I told this story earlier. We did a screening for All About the Benjamins with Ice Cube and Mike Epps, and I had people sing, and whoever made the most noise, they won some tickets to something else, and he didn't feel that was an appropriate or a professional way to go about it, so he let me go for that. And so, come to find out, the people that I worked with, other people within the promotions department, they were talking. They looked at me and they saw that, hey, this is somebody that has talent. He's always the center of attention, and somebody talked to him and told him, well, B.Woods, he told us that he's going to do it this way, and we didn't have a say in it, and I didn't do any of those things. People put words into your mouth, and that was kind of the fire that lit me getting let go, because when you have enough jealousy and you have enough envy, people tend to use that so that they can push you out the business. That's usually how it starts. If you're in the business, for the most part, you're gonna have alliances, or you're gonna have people that are jealous, and they're gonna figure out ways to let you go. And so it's never gonna be for something malicious. It's gonna be some weirdo ass shit that happens out of nowhere, and then you're gonna be like, that's why I got let go. So I found out that this person that started to fuel this energy of me doing things quote unquote incorrectly, I had to confront him. And that's just that street shit. You be out here and you hear people talking about you. And so there was a promotions closet, and we would get to the office a little bit early if we had to do an event. And even prior to me getting let go, I didn't know I was going to let go, but I heard this guy was the one that was kind of telling, kind of just speaking out of turn. And I approached him like, yo, what up, bro? Like, why are you telling this new guy that I'm doing things wrong, and why are you trying to light the flame, and just almost on some fighting shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I didn't do that shit. I don't know what your end game is, but at the end of the day, I didn't do nothing malicious. I'm not fucking with you. You didn't have anything to do with the situation, but you talking greasy about me. And so it's like, no, I didn't know. It's always, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know. Like, motherfuckers never know. And so that was part of the energy that fueled it. Lo and behold, what he did actually worked, and I ended up getting let go. And that's the thing. Like, your talents can be the thing that gets people afraid, or it can be something that gets people to really, not position you to win. So you always have to have a means of what I'm going to do to protect myself, how I'm going to cover myself, and that's really what a lot of the business is. It's just people covering themselves so things can work, and aligning themselves with people that can actually help them. And like I said, I'm grateful for like those 6 people that I've met within this business that we're cool. Those are my ride or dies, and in my lowest of low points, I know that they gonna be there for me, and I'm definitely gonna have a couple of them on the show, because they got some great industry stories too, because their perspective is like so much different. And so it just takes a lot to build in this business. And so, it takes a lot of things. It takes a lot of just, trust, knowing who to trust, building relationships, because you can't do this shit by yourself. And it just takes a lot of persistence too, and persistence is really the unorthodox persistence is the shit that really gets you to the next level. Most of my peers that are doing, amazing things, it's just they created the positions for themselves. They hustled, and they got it popping, and they generally didn't listen to some corporate person that told them this is the way that you go about making yourself pop, because it's not in corporate's best interest to make your brand pop off. You have to have a direction, and you have to have a space for yourself in this business that you see, that's isolated to you, because people ain't gonna know your vision and where you trying to go, and they're gonna place it on you, and a lot of that shit is weirdo stuff, and so you don't want to be caught up in all that. So for the most part, what you need to do is just always just trust your gut, trust your instincts, create relationships, and be persistent. And that's what we're gonna talk about, persistence. And we're gonna try to get a couple people on the podcast and make it happen and tell these industry stories. All right. So this is a few podcasts in. We gonna lighten it up. I know I'm a funny guy, trust me. But a lot of the first few, it seems like it's a serious podcast. But we're gonna have some jokes and have some fun. I'm just getting my footing together for the podcast stuff, because it's my first endeavor. It's definitely a different muscle, so I'm just trying to exercise it. So once we get a few podcasts in, we'll be able to have fun and tell jokes and make your ass laugh. All right, keep it locked right here. B.Woods podcast, Holla Back Industry Stories.